Algeri, and welcome to the Hard Rock Stadium here in sunny Miami, Florida, ahead of a humongous night of boxing action. We are live with the first ever U.S. edition of Before the Bell, brought to you totally for free on the Matchroom social media platforms, which will be highlighting some fantastic up-and-coming talent. Hello, I'm Chris Algeri, and welcome to the Hard Rock Stadium in beautiful, sunny Miami, Florida. Ahead of a huge night of action, we are live with the first ever U.S. edition of Before the Bell, which is brought to you free of charge on Matchroom social media platforms, where we will be highlighting some fantastic up-and-coming talent. Talent that includes Alexis Espino, Aaron Aponte, and the long-awaited professional debut of Keyshawn Davis. But all of that leads up to our highly anticipated main event, the return of pound-for-pound kingpin Canelo Alvarez as he takes on the very rough and rugged Avni Yildirim right here in Miami. Nothing like the energy of a Canelo fight week. Eddie Hearn joins me before the action tonight. The man who is right in the middle of a massive global triple header. Last night there was fights in Italy, as well as the triumphant return of Joseph Parker in New Zealand. Now tonight we're in Miami. Eddie, how do you do it and look this good?
Well, mate, I mean, I've been getting a lot of stick for the pajamas yesterday. I've gone true full-on Miami Vice tonight. I knew I was with you, Algeri, one of the best-looking men in boxing, so the last two nights have been great. Josie Parker with a good win this morning. The Italian card was great, but this is something special. I mean, someone said to me today, do you still get pumped for nights like this? And I've not been excited about a fight night like this for a long time, because in America, we haven't really done anything like this before. And we're doing it with the biggest pound-for-pound star in the sport. So everything wants to be perfect. I've got, you know my mouth's so big. There's so many surprises tonight. There's so many performances coming. The ring walk is spectacular. And it seems like everyone's in Miami, yeah. Right? Like every pop star, unless people are just, requesting tickets for other people, but every fighter, every American footballer. So huge guest list of very interesting people coming tonight, and a really good night of boxing.
Absolutely, and everyone is obviously excited about the Canelo Alvarez, the pound-for-pound king coming tonight. But let's talk about the undercard. There's some great action tonight. Some guys who are making their pro debuts, long anticipated, like a Keyshawn Davis, and other local talent. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously on this Before the Bell episode, we've got three great fights. Alexis Espino, who returns to action. He had the worst 2020. I think he had an injury. He tested positive for COVID. So he missed about 3 opportunities to fight, and he didn't box in 2020. He opens up the card in a really tough fight. Then we go on to Aaron Aponte, really good kid out of the US amateur system from Miami. Sold about 600 tickets out of his own hand for this event. And then Keyshawn Davis. We were talking about that off air. Maybe the best young fighter to come out of America for a long time. But then we were talking about Mark Castro, who beat him 3 times in the amateurs.
Right.
He's on after that. So Diego Pacheco with a big step up. Then we've got the heavyweights. And then we got Puerto Rico against Mexico in the flyweights for the interim title, and then the big one. But really interesting to see how these young kids adapt to this environment. You know, I walked Keyshawn out here earlier, and he's a cool dude, isn't he? You know,
yeah,
but
very.
you know, Chris, you hustled from the early part of your career in small hall shows, getting up, you know, before you became a world champion. They don't realise how lucky. I mean, we're lucky to even be here. But to fight on this card at such a young age, especially for your pro debut, is pretty special.
Well, like you said, told him not to get used to it just yet.
Yeah.
So, he's got some learning to do. But let's take a look at what the card looks like tonight, and let's highlight what we have coming up.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, Espino starting off. Sykes looks like a tough guy. Like he was calling him out of the weigh-in. You know, you ducked me before, you made me wait last year, and then Aponte. Gigliotti's actually, you know, when I talk to these kids around the hotel, they're all coming up to me saying, I'm going to do the business. You're going to be signing me tomorrow after this fight, you know. And Aponte is going to be wild. This is his second pro fight. He's got all these people here. He's in Miami. I mean, how do they even keep calm? It's only the ones, you look at some people's temperament. That's why I like with Keyshawn. I think he's going to stay calm. But what's the important thing, Chris, as a fighter, you know, being here and coming out to an occasion like this?
You got to fight. You got to fight and you got to win. You know, and I was a guy who came up locally as a big ticket seller and had a lot of people there. There's a lot of extra pressure. But at the end of the day, you have to go out there and perform. You have to win. It's all about winning.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then obviously going into Castro. Morega's an interesting cat. I mean,
Very
our
tough
team,
guy.
I don't know what we were doing, but we matched Mark Castro against a guy called Raul Corona. I mean, how can you do that? Especially when he turns up and tests positive for Corona. The only person to test positive was Raul Corona. Morega was an ex-UFC guy, I believe.
Yeah,
Has
he's
already
got about
stepped up.
20 or so pro fights,
you know, a dangerous character. Pacheco, look out for that fight against Gomez Jr. That's a really difficult fight. And Zhang as well, a much bigger step up against Forrest. Forrest actually looks in great shape for this fight.
Absolutely,
I mean,
very
you know,
dangerous.
Yeah, so but I think Zhang's a good fighter. Rodriguez Arroyo is going to be a war, and then of course the main event.
Well, let's talk about that Arroyo Rodriguez. I mean, being able to put that fight together on short notice, and this is still a good fight.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I shouldn't say it's funny, but you know, Julio Cesar Martinez, who's one of my favourite fighters,
Yeah.
I got a call 5 minutes before the weigh-in to say he's damaged his hand, and he'd had hand problems, and you know, at that point you just think he's just struggling to make weight. You know, but we knew his weight was good. We checked weigh him. He turned up at the press conference, and he had a ball on his hand, like that. It looked like, you know, a football. And he had to do the press conference, basically knowing deep down that the fight was off. We took him straight to the doctor. They said he'd had a fracture in the hand. He was off. And this was Thursday at about 3 p.m. So now we're looking around the world to try and find a flyweight to fight for the interim world title. We found a guy called Abraham Rodriguez, who's already fought for the world title from Mexico. Good fighter. We wanted that Mexican-Puerto Rican rivalry with Arroyo. He jumped on a plane on Thursday night. He landed on Friday afternoon. Weighed in, all done. So we get a good fight there, and you know, that's a crazy world of boxing. Stay ready.
Only in boxing.
Stay ready.
Only in boxing. And to be able to put together a capable opponent on such short notice is absolutely unbelievable. I expect that to actually be a fireworks fight. And then, of course, leading into our main event, what are your thoughts on Canelo Alvarez?
Well, we were talking off air, weren't we? I mean, I think the problem is Avni's got a big heart. You know, he's got plenty of courage, and I know that Canelo's a huge favourite in this fight, but let's just take it back to Yildirim's fight with Durrell. I mean, that was anyone's fight when it got stopped with a cut.
Absolutely.
But he's sometimes too brave for his own good. I mean, against Eubank Jr., it was the same thing. You just said you feel like it might be a little bit like Eubank Jr. You know, he's in the fight, and he's letting his hands go, but then he's going to get carried away with the fight and get caught. I mean, Canelo, you know, I want to get your take on this. Does anybody beat Canelo Alvarez? I mean, he just seems to be getting better and better.
You know, with him, it's the lifestyle. He says no boxing, no life, right? And so he goes from one camp to another. He's getting better. You know, he's still a young guy, you know, and he's getting better every fight because he stays in the gym. He lives the lifestyle. I don't think there's a lot of fighters today that are doing that, especially ones that are as talented as Canelo Alvarez.
And I think, again, Yildirim, he's got this crazy manager, Amit owner, and they're like, he's coming up to me today, we are going to win. We are going. I'm like, okay, mate, just enjoy. Yeah, but he's like, that's the problem. But what do you do? Again, this is my other interesting question for you, because as a fan, I want to know, what do you do against Canelo Alvarez? If you box off the back foot, you know, Callum Smith did that a little bit. He's going to back you up against the ropes. He's going to work the body. We know one of the problems, Yildirim has high hands. His body's wide open. He's open to the uppercut as well. But what do you do? If you're aggressive, he's going to use his defense and counter punch you. Do you have to do a bit of both? What's the plan?
It's going to be a battle of real estate. Abney has to get inside, and when he's inside, he needs to take advantage, let his hands go. He does have a height advantage. He doesn't have the reach advantage, but he is a bigger guy coming in. He's got to make it rough. He's got to make it tough. He can't let Canelo breathe. He's going to have to take a hell of a lot of fire on the way in, but he's got to bite down his mouthpiece and get those punches with Canelo.
But do you, for a couple of rounds, do you feel it out?
I don't think so.
Do you go straight at it?
I think it goes right at him.
Really?
Canelo likes to set the pace, be a ring general, set up his counters, breathe, move, reset, counter again. I think Abney needs to jump all over him early. Hey, go out on your shield, or that's your only chance.
Yeah, he'll definitely go out on his shield.
Yeah,
I don't see him winning
agree.
the fight, but I do see him, having to be buttoned to the canvas, and that may well be the case.
Yeah. Let's talk on the first night of the card on the before the bell, the Alexis Espino fight. You said he's been out of the ring for a couple months. This is a tough fight coming back. What are your thoughts on him and his talent and where he could potentially go?
Espino's really raw. Part of the Robert Garcia gym down there, which is obviously a fantastic trainer.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't say about Yildirim. Joel Diaz is his trainer.
Correct,
I mean, he wouldn't have wasted his time going to Turkey to train him if he didn't feel like the kid had some kind of chance in this fight. Alexis Espino had quite a limited amateur experience, but he was knocking everyone out, and he was really, really exciting. My worry is that, he's not a Keyshawn Davis who's seems just brimming with confidence. He's quite a nervy kid. And when you've been out of the ring for so long, I guess you start to second-guess yourself a little bit. But like all these kids, they've stayed in the gym. And the truth is, he has had a year in the gym with Robert Garcia. And that's going to do him great because he'd only just turned pro, 18 months ago, something like that. So it's given him a chance to work on his craft. But again, every one of these opponents that I've seen at the weigh-in, they were going for it. Looking in the eye, giving it the chat. They're all pumped for a contract if they win. And how can you not be pumped here? I mean, forget Keyshawn Davis stepping up here. Look at Espino's opponent and Pacheco's opponent and all these guys coming out here saying, this is the opportunity of a lifetime for me.
Absolutely. And their ability to, potentially having an upset. And here we go. We're getting ready for our first fight, which is Alexis Espino. So, Eddie, thanks for joining us, and let's enjoy the action.
Thanks, Chris.
Greatness doesn't take a day off. Greatness is a sacrifice. It's not given. It's taken. Greatness is born hungry. It is never satisfied.
Hey, who's next?
Everybody wants a piece of greatness. But greatness wants a piece of everything.
Canelo Alvarez, this is a champion in his prime.
Pound for pound, the #1 fighter in the world.
I am lucky. My whole amateur career was an underdog story because I was at nationals as a novice. Like, I should have even been at nationals. I feel like my whole career I've always been looked upon as like just a little lower,
I remember back when I was younger.
I'm also much newer to the sport, and it's not an excuse. It's just to show what else I can conquer and what else I can do in the sport. If I'm doing this with the experience I have, it just goes to show that I'm headed for greatness, My career has been a miracle, and I'm blessed. I'm blessed that I was able to do with the experience that I've got. There's so much more to go for,
I remember.
Go ahead and get the jab going.
Movement. He's got some real quickie, shifty, counters there. He slips to the inside, throws that lead uppercut, slips to the outside, throws the overhand right. I think he's going to need to do that to close the distance with the longer arm Sykes.
Here comes Alexis with a little combination, but no damage done early.
Little tricky shot there from Sykes, the left hook to the body in the middle of the combination that Espino opened up with. Good overhand right there by Espino. Seemed to get the attention of Sykes.
Attention to what Espino is trying to accomplish here in this first fight on this long undercard before the bell. Stepping up, hoping to stab himself early. He does predict, Chris, that he thinks he has the upper hand. He thinks he can get an early round knockout somewhere midway through with his scheduled 6-rounder.
I spoke at length with his trainer, Robert Garcia, last night, and he said he's been getting great sparring, and then all the sparring partners come out and they say, man, that kid's got power.
Very little in the way of feeling each other out here. Both coming to fight, stepping in, neither backing down. It's good to see early.
Just missed with that.
Sykes was trying to bring from down under a little bit of power and just missed the mark.
You can see the eyes of Alexis and his body language. He wants to come in and do just that. Throw hard shots, hit the body, bang the body, get whatever he can hit. Hit the arms, hit the body, hit the head, whatever he can touch. He wants to make his opponent feel that power.
Sneaks a left hand just in on the chin of Sykes. Does Espino just to get a little touch as this first round starts to reach its conclusion.
Good opening round for both men. You can kind of see what each one needs to do in order to be successful.
Yeah, nice little bit of give and take to start things off on our first fight before the bell. Espino and Sykes exchanging. Very quality effort from both to begin.
Okay, keep walking down, man. Inhale, exhale.
There we see the world-famous Robert Garcia giving his young charge some instruction, and you can see him poke into that liver, saying, get to that body, double, triple up that left hand, which is pretty common to hear from Robert Garcia. Here we got some action from round number one. Nice nip-tuck round. Both men landing good shots with the left hand there. Both men kind of trying to establish who's the dominant man and more in control. And you can see he's almost every punch was answered with another from his opponent. So very, very even first round.
Yeah, I would say they seem to be well matched and well suited to take each other on. This is the third scheduled attempt to try to make this fight happen. The first two occurring late last year, November 27th, a positive COVID test in Espino's camp, moved it back a couple weeks, and then it was Alexis himself testing positive in late December. So here they are. Third time is indeed the charm.
Yeah, in new world of COVID, everyone's like, oh, how secure is that fight? Well, when you're walking to the ring, that's pretty much when the last chance you know if you actually got the fight or not.
Sykes got some good reach, trying to get inside, using that left hand effectively. Not only the jab, but taking a good wide swing. Just thus far, not quite effective in landing the punches.
No, not so much. And I think that has a lot to do with that tricky head movement that I said in round number one for Espino. In this round, he's come out and is throwing a nice stiff jab, is Alexis, which I love to see in a young fighter. I always say, if you don't have a jab, your potential, your ceiling is lower than a guy who really focuses on his left hand.
Last time fight fans saw a bit of Espino, who gets a little right cross the left chin. Sykes was 363 days ago. Got a unanimous decision against Vecchio Savage. Hold on.
Oops, a little clash of heads there.
Unintentional heads meeting, as Christopher Young says, let's hold it, put pause on for a moment.
Their heads have come together a few times in this round and a half.
And what's that tell you, as these two? I mean, they're trying to both get inside?
I think, yeah, that's probably exactly what it is. You know, Espino is very aggressive coming forward. He's like what we call being heavy over his front foot because he's so aggressive. And I think Sykes just is having trouble finding his range, maybe a little bit jumpy at times. So that's why their heads are coming together.
It's part of the thought process by one with enough shoulder starting to get into the chin there, Espino from Sykes, but no damage apparently done as they lock up for the moment. Christopher Young separates them. Is that to try to shorten those arms of Sykes a bit to step inside, take away some of the power?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe getting on the inside of those arms. So one thing, when you got a guy with a long reach, you want to get inside those arms where you have an advantage because those longer arms are a little slower on the inside. Espino doing a good job of neutralizing the length of Sykes at this point. There's that head movement.
Getting so close, they can whisper in each other's ear here, and they're coming after each other. It's good to see. You want to see a competitive fight. You want to see these two try to establish themselves. There's no, as mentioned, the feeling out of certain bouts when fighters face each other. None of that here.
Yeah, Espino's just missing that right hand. We saw that moments ago. I think if he kind of chops that a little bit, shortens it up, drops it a little bit lower, similar to what he just did there, I think he'd have a lot more success.
A couple phantom swings here to finish the second round as each trying to get a little left jab just as the bell rings. Espino making contact, but again, pretty even through that second round.
Yeah, I thought that was a little better round for Espino based on landing those stiff, hard jabs that were backing up the head of Sykes. But yeah, still a very competitive round. Here we see that right hand that I was talking about from Espino going just over the shoulder, over the head. There's another one. That one actually landed pretty good on the temple of Sykes. Here we see some scrappy action between the two. There's that hard jab that I was talking about from Espino.
Well, an absolutely resplendent day in South Florida here in Miami Gardens in the house that was built in honor of the Dolphins, the Miami NFL franchise here. It's still 21 days left in winter, but you wouldn't know it down here in Miami. Feels like 84 degrees Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius, 63% humidity as these two come out swinging once more. Sykes in the dark shorts, Espino in the blue and white, as the 6-0 21-year-old from Las Vegas, Nevada, looking to establish himself as remaining unbeaten at the conclusion of these 6 scheduled rounds.
You know, Sykes not making it easy for the young Espino, using that length, being a little shifty, you know, coming in with his head at times. Sykes not being very effective at landing much, but still making it a tough time for the up-and-coming Alexis.
What do you make of the fact that Espino, coming from Las Vegas, the arid desert air that he trains in, very warm, but obviously a lot drier, the humidity he's feeling here, whereas for Sykes, Columbia, Maryland, just outside of Baltimore, get very humid up there. Would that have an impact in this type of fight?
Could, but luckily tonight, you know, we're in the arena now. It's not as hot as one may think, thinking of Miami. It is getting a little later in the day, and this time of year, it really is perfect weather, so it's not too hot or humid here. Definitely different than the arid desert. But I believe that Espino has been training with Robert Garcia over in Oxnard, California. So.
Mentioned it's been 2 days shy of a full year since Espino last fought. It was just before the pandemic basically shut down not only boxing, but the world on March 7th when Sykes last fought. Everything went haywire to the global pandemic, but in his fight against Isaiah Hart, stopped in the 4th round, picking up his 3rd career loss against 5 wins. Established himself once again back in the win column against Espino today.
Good overhand shot there from Espino. I'd like to see him get a little more aggressive. You know, I think he is the better puncher. He's been landing the better shots. Sykes has not been very accurate at this point, so I think Espino needs to put on some pressure, try and break down the body of Sykes. I do love that straight left hand, that jab from Espino. Lands very hard.
How do you rate the power from the left hand? Obviously trying to set things up for that right hand right there, but does it serve him well?
You know, the jab looks very strong, very stiff. He's got great mechanics on it. I haven't seen much in terms of the left hook or left uppercut. He's thrown it a few times. It doesn't look that powerful, but that right hand does look heavy.
And Sykes doing his best to avoid it. And the 3rd round, halfway through the super middleweight bout. And Espino trying to take charge here in Miami.
How you feel? Okay. Carry that round away. All right. We're gonna go around.
Work there from Espino in round number 4, letting those hands go. And I think that's the key to him being victorious tonight, is just letting those hands go. Throw combination punches. You know, when he's going one and done, it's hard for him to kind of separate his skill set.
Espino came in with high hopes and predicted a knockout. He said people should expect one. He said he's looking to make a statement in 2021 because 2020 for everybody was so disappointing. A reset button there, and yeah, he wants to go big.
Yeah, you had mentioned that he had spent a year out of the ring, which for a young guy is a very long time, especially early in your career. But he spent that time training in the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy, so he was getting tremendous sparring with some really great fighters. So that 1 year, even though it's not ideal, isn't the worst situation for Espino.
And for a fighter like Espino, you know, granted he's perfect, 6 wins in 6 bouts, but how far along would he be in the maturation process? I mean, that's not a lot of ring experience.
No, I mean, he's 21 years old as well. There's no reason to rush him, and he had a very low number of amateur fights. I think he had 23 or 24 amateur fights, which, you know, we're seeing guys 200-300, you know, these days. So, you know, with a kid like him, you can take your time, let him develop as a pro, and get seasoned. Ooh, good right hand there.
Now starting to pick his spots. You can see a little bit more intent and purpose in where his stance is against Sykes and where he's trying to strike. Still hasn't landed the formidable punch. Looking to get inside. And you mentioned his amateur status for Espino. He was very sturdy despite the lack of abundance of fights. He was twice a U.S. national champion and did compete for Team USA.
Sykes coming on a little bit here. He's a tough, scrappy guy. He's in there. He's willing to mix it up, and especially now, and he's got a beautiful right uppercut there from Sykes on the inside. Popped the head up of Espino.
Sykes not bad in his own right, as coming out of Columbia, Maryland, a 2-time Maryland Golden Gloves champion, but not a lot of abundance of experience on his side either. This is just his 9th overall professional fight at 31 years of age.
But he's definitely fought the stiffer competition as opposed to Espino. He's fought some undefeated guys. He's been in tough. So, you know, you got to look beyond the numbers with a guy like Sykes.
And hoping his experience with age and his time as a professional might find his way to putting a blemish on that perfect record thus far for Alexis.
Sykes having the best round of his fight so far tonight. Landing good shots, being busy, letting his hands go. Ooh, good uppercut there from Espino.
Good response to the left hand of Sykes that was becoming a little more authoritative.
Ooh, good stiff jab there, followed by a hard right hand from Espino. There's another one.
Decent throwing of hands from Espino to finish out round 4 after Sykes appearing to put forth his best effort thus far in the fight. Espino finishes strong. And they'll take a seat here in Miami Gardens inside a Hard Rock Stadium on a beautiful Saturday night in Miami.
Here we see that stiff jab there from Sykes and followed by that counter right hand, that chopping shot that I was asking for a few rounds ago. Espino made that adjustment, landed some really nice counter right hands in there. Good round of 2A action. Like we had mentioned, probably the best round for Sykes. Maybe not enough to win him the round, but
Referee Christopher Young stands in the middle of the square circle, ready to start the penultimate round of our first fight on a big night. It would be disingenuous for us not to recognize the elephant in the room. That is the big fight that finishes the night, Canelo, Yildirim. And there is a tie-in, of course, because Alexis Espino is extremely proud of his Mexican heritage. He says that an abundance of family that lives back home in Mexico are his inspiration, his reason to get in the ring and fight for them. They provide all the motivation he needs, and he hopes to represent well here. But here's Sykes once again getting off to a good start, connecting with his left.
Yeah, using that reach and that length and height advantage is Sykes, landing nice, hard, stiff jabs down the middle. But there's the counter left hook from Espino. Got the attention of Sykes as he came in. I'd love to see Espino just be busier. You know, when he lets his hands go, he throws combinations, he has great success. Put some hurt on Sykes, but he needs to be more consistent. Good double left hook and a right hand.
Oh, and he senses blood. Circles in, and Espino going after Sykes and really starting to hammer.
Oh, good body work there on the inside as well.
And Sykes is wobbled. He has yet to fall, but Espino all over Sykes here in round 5.
Let's see the killer instinct that Espino has now. He's got his man hurt.
He's got the sense. Staying with the goose egg in the loss column. Can he finish Sykes here? That was a vicious exchange. And Espino getting the better of Sykes. As
Espino needs to push the action here. He's letting Sykes come back a little bit. There we go. He needs to hit the body as well. Good right hand over the top.
really establishing a dominant stance here in this 5th round is Espino. Alexis just finding the combinations, putting glove to chin. Can he maximize this moment?
I think whatever happens here, Espino's going to look back. Ooh, good left hook over the top. Sykes is really hurt.
And Chris Young, the referee says that's it. And what do you know? Alexis Espino says, look at me now. 7-0 professional stature is secured in Miami.
Good stoppage. Good stoppage. I thought Sykes was really hurt, so I'm not upset about that at all.
What was the difference there? Through the first 4 rounds, even towards the end of the 4th, it seemed as though Sykes was starting to find his way through the match, and then Espino kicked it up a gear.
Yeah, I think it's just what I said. I think Espino just needed to let his hands go. He's got beautiful combinations. He's got good power, obviously. He just needed to let his hands go, touch his man, keep touching him, stay a little more consistent. Once he did that, it was all she wrote.
Well, for Sykes, a disappointing 5th round, as he thought he might have been going in toe-to-toe, but Espino just too good and too accurate when it mattered most.
I think I spoke too soon about that left hand. Those counter left hooks turned out to be very, very powerful.
Well, he took his time to warm up. I mean, he certainly got his rhythm into it. And again, they both came out competitive. They were looking to establish some contact early, were able to do so. But as things progressed, Espino started to hit the gas pedal.
Good performance from the young Alexis Espino.
So 7-0 for his professional career, and he will feel good about his performance as he kicks off our coverage before the bell. Fighting at 167 3/4 pounds. Is this the weight for him? Is this where he's going to shine most?
No, I think he actually alluded to the fact of trying to get himself down to 160 and kind of work his way down. For being out of the ring for a year, it's kind of understandable. Come back a little bit heavier, but I do believe that he's looking to move down to 160.
Well, disappointment from Ashton Sykes as he falls to 5-4 lifetime. Comes up on the short end as Alexis Espino dazzles in round 5 in Miami to improve his record to 7-0. Luck had nothing to do with it, as it was all power and precision when it mattered most in round 5.
Coming up next on our live stream is the undefeated Aaron Aponte, so don't go anywhere.
Lewis, you need to get him up here. Yeah.
Also, he's coming up here?
Yeah,
all 3 of us?
a bit, yeah.
So
No, he can replace me.
Okay. He looked good with his hands going.
Really good, and his defence was much better. He took his time. Wanted to see the left hook a little bit bad. Like,
at the beginning, I thought the left hook was weaker, and then he finished with it.
Yeah.
Robert Garcia said everybody at the gym.
Yeah.
Lewis, we're talking Aaron Aponte now? Or are we talking that?
Let's just talk about Aponte. Yeah. We're going to get the speed up.
I'll capture it. Okay. I'm joined by world-renowned promoter Eddie Hearn. So we just saw Alexis Espino come out after taking a year off, finishing his man. What do we have to say about this fighter?
I was a bit worried about that fight, Chris. You know, we talked about it earlier, and even after the first 2 rounds, Sykes was composed, wasn't he? Quite an awkward style to hit clean. Had a good jab as well, but what impressed me about Alexis was his patience, his head movement, and his defence this time. He has been a little bit sloppy in the past. I like the way he was moving his head, was screaming at him to put the left hook on the end of the right hand, especially to the body. And ironically, it was the left hook that actually led to most of the damage in the end. But a really good performance, and I think he can breathe a sigh of relief after getting back in the ring with a good win.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you nailed it on the head. You know, when he let his hands go, he's able to do a lot of damage. His combinations were crisp. His defense was there. So I think there's big things in the future for the young man.
Yeah, and I think as well, being out of the ring for so long, we need to get him active now. Try and see him have 4 or 5 fights this year. But all these kids, Pacheco particularly coming up, they're kind of getting to the stage now where we need to say, okay, 8 rounders, okay, 10 rounders, and like there's a fight that every time they're trading up in there tonight, I'm thinking, oh, you know, this is not a guy who can't fight inside. This is a guy who can punch. You know, he's trying to win the fight, and the stakes become a little bit more dangerous now, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Eddie, thank you so much. We'll bring you in for the next one as well. We're going to actually speak to Alexis
Let's get the
now.
man in here. Come on. You're looking great. Good performance. There you go.
Turn right over there. Yeah, you look good, man.
Thank you, bro. Did you say I was a football player or no? I mean, that I wanted to be? You didn't say it?
No. Okay, I'm joined here by Alexis Espino. Great job, congratulations. Started a little bit slow, had a bit of an awkward guy in front of you, a couple clashes of heads, but once you let your hands go, found the mark, you were able to get the guy out of there. Talk a little bit about your performance.
I think the same thing that you did. And even though I told myself so much before the fight that I'm gonna come in, right when I got in there, it just felt weird, and I just kept on throwing jabs and trying to figure him out. But I'm gonna learn. I'm learning,
yep.
and I want to learn. So I think that's what matters most. Right?
Absolutely. I think you showed a lot more polish in this fight than you have in the past. You kept your hands in great position, beautiful head movement. We saw a little bit of that Canelo-esque style, keeping those hands up, moving that head coming up. All in, great performance. This is a learning experience with a very, very tough guy. Not an easy fight at all. Anything you want to say to the fans out there?
I just want to say that I haven't got a lot of clout as the other prospects due to the fact that I haven't been fighting. But as soon as Eddie Hearn gives me more fights, I swear I'm gonna get out there too. I'm gonna get out there more, and I'm gonna show my personality a bit more. I think I'm very I don't post shit. You get me? I'm very but as I fight, I wanna do that. You know?
Yeah, that's great in the world that we live in now. What are your plans for 2021? When can we expect to see Alexis Espino back in the ring?
As soon as Eddie Hearn gives me another fight, if he gives me another fight in these couple of days, in a month or whenever, I'd love to fight again. I want to keep fighting. I want to get out there more, you know? I don't want to be coming into the fights and going, what I go, 4 or 5 rounds?
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, well, I don't want to be doing that, so, man, I just hope Eddie Hearn keeps on giving me fights.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the plan. You know, great performance today. Keep progressing. Congratulations, and we'll see you again soon.
Hey, before this ends, I want to get a follow on Instagram, bro.
You got it. Absolutely.
You got it? I'm going to follow you.
100%. You got it.
All right, thank you, bro.
Yeah, man. And that's Alexis Espino, still undefeated, gets the knockout win. And coming up next to the ring, the local favorite, Aponte.
Welcome back inside Hard Rock Stadium. We're gladiators of the NFL variety. If you watch the gridiron here in the United States, NFL football, this is where the Dolphins play. But today, those gladiators, they throw fists. And Chris Algieri, it's one of the hometown favorites, a guy that a lot of people have expectations coming from this neck of the woods. We're talking about Aaron Aponte as he takes the ring.
Aaron Aponte, he's a kid that has been brimming with confidence all week long. You can see it in his ring walk right now, flexing to the crowd for his adoring fans. Sold upwards of 600 tickets tonight.
Yeah, and there is that feeling as he trains, lives, shares a gym space with his father. We'll get more into that as the match goes. Not far from here, less than a 30-minute drive from Miami Gardens to get to Hialeah. So this really is home cooking that he's hoping to feast on, and he's looking to feast on Harry Gigliotti in the process.
Yeah, Harry Gigliotti, I had the chance to speak to his trainers and promoters from Boston Boxing Promotions. You know, they wanted this fight. They think they have a great opportunity to upset the undefeated local favorite.
And we'll see how the Alien King of Miami fares today. It is Instagram. He actually literally has the emoji of an alien and a crown there, so he's fully embracing it. He's all in, as well as wearing it on his back. But there is nothing too foreign or alien about the way he fights. He comes after you, and he comes hard.
Yeah, he's got a great pop body shot. He's got a great jab as well. Big amateur background. Looks to put a hurt on his opponents and get him out of there early.
Trains for this fight and is ready to go. Burgos readies the two. Alien King listening and saying, I want to hear you. Those 600 tickets of fans already in their seats wanting to see the man from the Magic City, from Hialeah, Aaron Aponte, taking on the hitman, Harry Gigliotti. And the bell has rung. Hands up. They punched in. Round one underway.
You know, Aaron Aponte, you see right away, very tall for the weight class, 5'11", 6-foot-ish for 140 pounds. Tremendous height and reach.
And the great thing about him, why he feels so confident when he steps in the ring, power from both hands.
Good amateur background. He's been around the block. You know, he's new to the pro game, but he's got a ton of experience behind him.
19 years of age is Aponte. He'll turn 20 in July, taking on the 25-year-old from Haverhill, Massachusetts. The Hitman says they call me the Hitman because I come to finish things. He'll have his hands full against Aponte today.
You know, the Hitman, he's going to have to get inside that long reach of Aponte and look to let those hands go. Aponte looking good defensively, making that distance, making that range. I don't think Harry has even landed a shot yet. See Aponte just stepping away, making Harry hit nothing but air so far.
Aponte picking up a lot of confidence from his first fight, and his only fight as a professional, punching his way to a 62-second knockout in the first round in October of last year in his debut.
I was going to say 62 minutes. That's a long first round.
I was so shocked at the 62 seconds myself. I gave him more time in the ring. He's hoping that it's going to be a quick one tonight as well. Yeah, the fast hands are just remarkable.
Yeah, I love seeing the young fighters focusing on the body. You know, have trouble hitting the head early. Guys moving their head a lot. They're feeling fresh. A couple body shots can really slow down the fight. Good overhand right there from Aponte. You see he's been trying that from round one, or from the opening of round one.
Aponte standing at 6 feet tall, trying to get the leverage, trying to use those quick hands. And as we mentioned, that he's got good power from both hands. He actually writes with his left hand and uses that as the dominant hand. He did play baseball as a kid, though, and batted and threw right-handed. So he feels confident from either side. He says he can deliver power from either hand.
Truly ambidextrous, which is going to definitely help him in the boxing game. Aponte doing a good job of neutralizing Gigliotti, maintaining the range, keeping his length. Little body shot that Harry was able to land on the inside there with the right hand. You know, there's a mistake that Harry's making there. He's dipping to his right side. Aponte is throwing that overhand right. He's catching him on the end of it. Look for that later as the rounds go on.
Renil Aponte, a father and trainer in the corner, as we take a look back at what Aaron was able to do through this opening round.
Yeah, speaking of right hands, we're seeing a medley of overhand rights from Aaron Aponte, looking to time his man, time his jab. There's that body shot that I spoke of. Nice shot that landed on the flank of Gigliotti. Here's another one of those overhand right attempts, which are just missing right now. But Aponte looking to get a little more precise and land those clean overhand rights. Good opening round for the undefeated prospect.
25-year-old Harry Gigliotti hails from the Queen Slipper City, Haverhill, Massachusetts, very close to the New Hampshire border here in the United States, not far from the Atlantic Ocean. And, of course, in Massachusetts, everything revolves in many ways about Boston. But he has sort of that moxie, that sort of feel of a guy who wants to impose himself physically. Problem is getting hands on Aponte at all.
Yeah, it's a good point. He even looks like an old-timey fighter, you know, between his haircut and his, even his trunks and whatnot. But, he's going to have to get rough and tumble with this young undefeated fighter in Aaron Aponte. I think he needs to really get up in the bread box, throw little shots on the inside, hit whatever you can, because he's having trouble even making contact at this point.
Yeah, a lot of air between glove and Aponte thus far from Gigliotti. Does have an impressive 6-1 record. Won his opening fight in January of 2019. Dropped the next one, but he has put together 5 in a row. It's going to take a supreme effort, though, against Aponte, who's moving so well, slipping, striking quickly.
You can see the eyes and the awareness of Aponte. He's seeing all these shots coming, evading them almost effortlessly. Aponte flicking the left jab there. Another important punch that I like to see in these young guys. Don't just go right to the power shot. Set up the jab first.
And it seems to be the strategy of Aponte that they've worked on the idea of backing up isn't a bad thing here. It's try to draw Gigliotti close, make him extend himself, and become a little bit vulnerable to the quick shot.
You can see that it's pretty often you see that with guys with good amateur backgrounds. They're used to staying outside of range, boxing in and out, and Aponte has that style.
Light on the balls of his feet, Aponte, as he dances around, trying to get inside the head of Gigliotti as well. And still, again, continuing. Chin out, ducking, moving away. Harry still trying to find the mark and having difficulty.
I like what Aaron just tried there. He did a little bit of a level change, bending his knees, getting low. I think that can help him land that overhand right. A lot of times when you lower your head, your opponent will lower their hands with you. That's a great time to throw the overhand right there. The double, triple, quadruple jab there from Aaron. A little jawing from both men.
Oh, yeah, Gigliotti didn't take kind to the little dance on the balls of the feet from Aponte earlier. Says, hey, let's go. Ooh, and now there's a little talk. My reading lips, a little bit of colorful exchange from Harry.
Colorful indeed. That was one of those words, I believe, that your mother would hit you for.
Yeah, well, if he needs to get a little motivation here, this is a good time because Aponte seems to be moving at will. And Gigliotti's going to have to shake things up here and try to land some punches. It's been for naught to this point.
Good counter left-hand shot there from Aponte. Slapped Harry right at clash of heads there on the inside. We got a scrap cupping coming out of this fight in round number 2.
And the look, the stare down, Gigliotti not happy with the way things ended there. He seems to be taking exception to Aponte to this point. Can he use that as fuel to get forward? As things continue on, as the Miami native trying to make his mark to stay unbeaten as a pro.
Here we see that exchange at the end of the round there. We said that Harry Gigliotti needs to get rough, and he did at the end of that round, even using his head, banging the body whatever he could. Aponte answers and closes that round with a straight right hand right down the middle. You know, Aponte having a little trouble with his balance, you know, throwing these big shots, but kind of seems to be halfway retreating as he's throwing them. So a lot of times landing the shots and falling off balance a little bit. But that's something that will come with experience as he figures out his timing, range, rhythm.
We talked about the power on both hands from Aponte, how he fights as orthodox style, but he does basically everything else left-handed. He found out in kindergarten. His kindergarten teacher came home to his mom and said, yeah, Aaron can't write. He's having difficulty. And I said, well, put the pen in his other hand and see if that works. He went from right to left and boom, scrolling away.
So he writes with his left and he plays baseball with his right. And he boxes with
orthodox.
Both.
Yep, exactly, yeah. Well, he at least sets up orthodox. He says it's a good, useful tool. I mean, 98 and 18 as an amateur, he used that left hand with great precision and says he can rely on it because it shakes people up. If you prepare for him as a righty, he's going to knock you with the left.
Yeah, he's been throwing a lot of the overhand rights, but, you know, the left hook, he actually landed a good one at the end of the round in round number 2. You know, with a guy like Gigliotti, you got to feint that first move like that out of him. Get him to use a head feint, use a foot feint, just like that. Great work there from Aponte to get him to throw that first big shot, and then you counter over the top. Good body shot there by Aaron Aponte.
Now standing a little more sturdy, looking to impose himself. Authoritative shot starting to sneak through. Still going for that big right-handed roundhouse. Misses.
He's loading up now.
It's just a matter of time and a little bit of a low tag there. That's going to sting. Gigliotti just now voices his displeasure. Samuel Burgos says, hold on, hold on. Oh.
Yeah, Harry's not happy about that low blow.
Well, he's voicing discontent to Burgos as if he felt like that was somewhat intentional. I mean, he is livid.
There it is. It was hard to see in that angle on that replay. Looked like it might have been a little low.
You talked about Burgos trying to get his knees bent, though, and get a little bit lower. Did he?
Aponte.
Sorry, Aponte.
Yep. That, I don't know. It's still hard to see if that was that low. A lot of times, even the shots that can hit you in the hip can be very, very painful.
Let's see if it woke up the bear in Gigliotti. Yeah, the disruptive part of that, Chris, so you can address it. I mean, he was obviously just absolutely livid, and that could take away his focus, and he could lose his way here if he's not careful.
Oh, absolutely. You know, even though it's fighting, boxing is not a sport of anger. You've got to be focused. You've got to be disciplined. You've got to execute. But the good thing about boxing is, if you feel like someone slighted you, you're allowed to punch them in the face.
Yeah, exactly. And no charges coming.
No. In fact, you get paid for it.
Yeah.
Counter left hand there from Harry. Yeah, Gigliotti didn't come here to lay down. You know, he's a tough guy. He's a rough guy. Like I said, I spoke to his team earlier, and they said that they're coming here for the upset.
Well, on his Instagram not long ago, he posted what was a pretty prophetic, potentially, post, which said, "Don't look for the answer, be the answer." And he's hoping to find a way to answer Aponte today when it looked early as Aaron was going to be establishing himself. Hitman hasn't gone away.
No, not at all. I mean, that's pretty deep stuff from someone named the Hitman. But you know, he's giving a good account of himself. I don't see the upset coming. You know, he's still is having trouble finding his range. I like the focus on the body that Aaron has made this round.
A little jabber between the two. They exchanged some words after exchanging punches, but still Aponte feeling in control to this point. It's going to take something else from the hitman to try to find his way in to upset the balance here in Miami.
There we see that replay of the low blow. It was definitely on the belt line. Like I said, I think that's more of one of those hip shots, which I've been hit with some of those and literally my leg went numb. So I can understand being upset, but it didn't seem like it was intentional. Here we see them mixing up along the ropes. Not a whole lot of contact, but like I had mentioned, I like that Aaron started to really focus on the body, especially with the left hook.
And Burgos trying in vain to separate the two before the start of the final round of this four-round encounter. As Aponte looks to now, he just lands a little tag. Bit of a slip from Gigliotti.
No, we're counting that as a knockdown.
Okay.
Good way to open up the fourth and final round for Aponte.
Aponte has said, they don't pay me by the round, they pay me for the fight. He was hoping this would be over quicker than it is coming into this final round, but nonetheless, job is still waiting to be done. And see if he can seal the deal.
Counter there that seemed to wobble Gigliotti. See, Aponte now setting his feet and throwing those punches, not falling backwards like he was in the first two rounds, getting some power behind those punches.
And the faithful from Hialeah that have packed in 600 tickets sold just to watch Aaron do his work, they're starting to get more vocal as they sense the finish line approaching. The Alien King looking to deliver a perfect 2-0 start to his professional career. I'm going to put the final touches on things against the Hitman.
Aponte trying with 3 right hands there. Didn't land a whole lot, but see what I mean there? He's pulling back as he's punching a lot. He's not getting a lot of power behind him. That was a beautiful left hook to the body, though, because he planted his feet, using the long reach to throw that looping left hook to the liver. Something to be said about Aaron Aponte. Only his second professional fight, fighting a guy with 6 wins, 1 loss, with 3 wins coming by way of knockout. You don't normally see that so young in a guy's career. Got to keep that in mind as well.
Final moments here in the final round as Aponte still looking for that strike. Little tap with the left followed by a connection from the right.
Oh, good left hook there from Harry along the ropes that caught Aponte on the chin. Took it well, though.
Knockdown credited to Aponte to start this round. Everything seeming to point the way that Aponte is going to emerge from this unscathed unless the Hitman can come up with something miraculous here in the final moments.
I have a feeling he's going to try. Making it rough, using his head. That's most likely going to be a point deduction. Yeah.
And Burgos letting Gigliotti know, no bueno down here in South Florida. Do not lean in and use the headbutt.
One of the more aggressive violations in the sport of boxing is using your head as a striking weapon.
Oh, and Aponte comes across to the left. And now looking to knock out. He says, I have my own gym called KO Fitness. He won't get it to finish. Hitman still standing, but Aaron Aponte, jubilant in Miami. His hometown representation lifting him up, and the Alien King flying high.
Here we see some nice counter shot opportunities from Aaron Aponte, taking a half step back, landing a 1-2. And then when he finally set his feet and started ripping those long left hooks, especially to the body, he had great success.
Yeah, good day at the office for Aponte overall. It didn't seem as if he had to exert an overwhelming amount of energy. He had the good length, he had the distance, the quickness. Really was able to avoid Harry's attempts all fight long.
Yeah, he really didn't get hit too much. He showed good defense. I would like to see him settle down on his feet a little bit, get more of a professional style. But again, it is only his second fight. He was fighting a 7-fight pro. So definitely some more maturation that needs to come. But hey, a win is a win. Great job tonight from Aaron Aponte.
Yeah, and he will be delighted. The expected outcome here, you should hear a roar from the Miami faithful who have packed in as Gigliotti just not quite up to snuff on the day. And then, of course, the point deduction. He took the tumble. They gave the knockdown to Aponte early in the final round, and then the point deduction, all points towards.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, after 4 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards. All 3 judges see it 40-34. Your winner by unanimous decision. He is still undefeated, the son of Hialeah, Florida, the Alien King, Aaron Aponte.
Well, he reaches the century mark if you include amateur and professional ranks. His 100th career overall victory, but his second as a professional. And Chris, that was a performance that he will feel good about as he leaves the ring tonight.
Yeah, great performance, got the win. Moving on, 2-0, perfect record. On to the next, as they say.
Indeed. So a time to shine in Miami. Well done from Aaron Aponte.
And speaking of next, we have the long-awaited pro debut of Keyshawn Davis in our main event of this early stream.
Yeah, good to see there at the end as Gigliotti came over to talk to Aponte. Some good sportsmanship at the finish. There he is.
You live up to that height, or you fall under that pressure. I'm gonna give it my all. Molded me to fight better, stronger, faster, and smarter than before. If you want the keys to success, you have to work for it. Chase your dreams until it chases you. But now, it's time to flip that next chapter. I'm who they've been waiting for. Keyshawn Davis.
Right here. Middle.
Put that between your feet. So it's not like, yeah. No, the white. Yep.
Like that.
No, we're gonna be right there. So, and I'm just gonna talk to you. So. I am joined by the now 2-0 Aaron Aponte. Great job out there. You had a tough opponent in front of you, a guy with a lot of professional experience. How do you feel about your performance? What did you do in there? Talk to me.
I give my performance around an 8.
8 out of 10.
You give it a 10?
No, saying 8 out of 10, you're saying?
8 out of 10,
okay.
Yeah, 8 out of 10. I feel like I could have knocked him out if I would have come forward a little more. That's the only reason I give myself an 8 instead of a 10 or a 9. So, overall, it was a great experience. He was 6-1 at the time. I'm only 1-0, now 2-0. You know, I wanted to knock out, but, you know, sometimes you have to be patient. And I did what I did, and now I boxed him.
Beautiful, yeah. Early on, it was a lot of right hands. Throwing the overhand right, it seemed like you were chopping down and he was leading to that side. Later on, it became the left hook, especially to the body. I mentioned on the telecast, when you started getting nice and long with that left hook, you were having really good success. What did you see in there from a technical standpoint? What did you learn? What were you developing? What were you analyzing in your opponent?
I was seeing that he had a lot of mistakes. He was lunging in. He was trying to be too anxious. So when he jumped in, I, you know, took advantage of his mistakes and, you know, made him look ugly.
Yeah, you showed great defense, great range, your ability to use your height. You're 6 foot tall for 140 pounds. You have tremendous height, tremendous reach. You showed that tonight. You're a two-handed puncher. What are we looking for in the future?
Looking forward to some more fights. I want to get at least 5 fights in this year. You know, 5, 4. Either way is good. But, you know, we're just moving up the ranks slowly. You know, soon we'll be at the top.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to me about showing out for your city. You got people, you got a lot of people here, 500-600 tickets were told, I heard. It was very loud in here, even though we're at a limited capacity. Talk to me about what it means for you to perform in front of your people.
To be honest, it's amazing. You know, I'm from Miami, and I've always dreamed that we always drive by this stadium, and I'm always telling my mom, one day I'm gonna fight over there. And my dream came true today, you know, as if where, maybe next time I could headline the show.
Yeah, mark that one off the list. That is a dream come true tonight. How soon can we expect you back in the ring?
How soon?
Is your body good? Hands, everything's good? Healthy?
I can tell you soon, but I can't tell you when, because it's still confidential. But yeah, we already have it arranged. You know, I'll be fighting soon.
Okay, great.
2 or 3 months.
So how long are you going to stay at the gym?
Stay at the gym. I'll probably stay at the gym like 1 week, just to have a little rest, and then I'll be back in. I don't want to get out of shape. I want to stay 155, around there. You know, not get too high. And, you know, put on a great show today.
That's it. Yes, you did. Thank you. Enjoy the victory. Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
All the best. Can't wait to see you again.
Alien King has arrived.
No, es muy importante, creo que no nomás para Canelo, sino para todos los peleadores. El hacer una historia en el boxeo creo que es muy importante, ¿no? Dejar un legado en este deporte para mí es muy importante y por eso es que estamos haciendo esto, ¿no? Para seguir haciendo historia y que cuando hablen de boxeo siempre se acuerden del Canelo. Es una motivación para mí, eso es lo que me genera estar en el gimnasio, seguir aprendiendo día con día, porque pues tengo una responsabilidad de ser el mejor y todos voltean hacia mí a querer aprender algo, a querer ser como yo y tengo una gran responsabilidad, pero con la misma lo asumo. Siendo tú la persona que eres, que has sido siempre, creo que eso es lo más importante y uno mismo se hace las cosas difíciles, pero no son tan difíciles cuando tienes la mente bien clara.
Canelo, if you're able to go through what you want to do and become that undisputed 4-belt champion at 168. I don't know if you're aware of this, Canelo. That has never been done since the division was created, either in the time when there was 3 titles or in the time that there were 4 titles.
Sí, así es. Quiero lograr.
I am joined by the manager of Aaron Aponte, also the manager of the very talented Xander Zayas, and also George Kambosos Jr., who's got a pretty big fight coming up. Mr. Peter Kahn, good friend of mine as well. Congratulations on the win. How do you rate your fighter's performance? How do you feel about what's up with his potential coming up?
Look, this was Aaron's second fight. I'm happy he got the rounds in. I mean, a lot of guys don't fight a guy that's 6-1 in their second fight. And I think he was patient. Everyone wants the knockout, right? But in this case, I think he was patient. I think he was poised. His opponent was a little bit wild, was a little bit agitated, tried to get him off his game. But I think, Aaron was smart. He never lost composure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this was a great learning experience with a guy with a lot of professional experience. 7 pro fights against coming in our second pro fight, so that's very, very impressive. I think the potential is really there for Aaron in the future. But let's talk a little bit about George Kambosos and his huge fight coming up with Teofimo. A lot of news circulating around that, especially with the purse bid and all that. So give us a little bit about that. I'm sure you have.
I mean, look, it was a fantastic outcome, I think, for everybody. I don't understand why anyone could be upset in this situation. Everybody wins. And look, Top Rank had an opportunity to make an offer. They never did. Never made an offer to our promoter, DeBella Entertainment. Never made an offer to us. So, I don't know what they did or didn't do with Teofimo. That's their business. As far as I'm concerned, once the purse bid was called, we went to purse bid, and at that point, it's open season. It's fair game. And we saw what happened. Top Rank bid the least. Matchroom came in with a very respectable bid, and Triller knocked it out of the park. And, look, it's the undisputed lightweight championship of the world. Teofimo Lopez beat Vasily Lomachenko, and I think earned the payday that he's getting right now. And for George, look, 19-0, undefeated last 2 fights. Last one against Lee Selby. It was the Eliminator. Former world champion. Before that, Mickey.
And now here we go, ladies and gentlemen. 6 rounds of lightweight action headed your way.
George earned it. Teofimo's reiterated that he earned it, and here we go. we're gonna do a show now on this fight, just for this fight.
This is boxing. You got to be opportunistic. You guys stepped in a great position, but like you said, George has earned it. He's had tough fights leading up to this opportunity, and Eddie, I think, said it best in an interview. He said, "Hey, it's a free market. These kind of things happen. You got to take advantage."
It's really simple. You don't want to go to purse bid, make a fair offer.
So, thank you so much for your time, Peter. Congratulations on your newest signee, the very talented Aaron Aponte, 2-0. Good luck with everything. See you soon. Thank you. Coming up next on our show, Keyshawn Davis, the long-awaited pro debut. Stay tuned.
And now, ready to make his entrance into the ring for the first time as a professional from Norfolk, Virginia, here is Keyshawn Davis!
Now, boxers love the spotlight and the big stage. So if you were to have your pro debut, wouldn't you want to be on center stage? Well, for Keyshawn Davis today, he will literally be in the center of one of the biggest rings in boxing. Welcome back, fight fans, to Hard Rock Stadium here in Miami Gardens, Florida. Kevin Skinner back with you for our final bout of Before the Bell. And Chris Algieri, often butterflies lead to blows in boxing. What do you expect more of from Keyshawn Davis tonight?
I am very excited for this pro debut. I've watched a lot of Keyshawn in the amateurs. Super talented at the highest level. International experience across the board. Very high hopes for this young man. And man, not only does he have the skills, he's got the style, he's got the talk, he's got the walk. Now we got to see if he can bring it to the professional stage.
And to see if he can add to his glory tonight. Tomorrow, he turns 22. So how about an early birthday present?
And now, fight fans, once again, we are set to go with this next attraction. 6 rounds scheduled in the lightweight division. The 3 judges scoring at ringside are Dave Moretti, Michael Tate, and Michael Ross. Referee in charge of the action is Tillis Asimenios. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black with silver. He weighed in officially 134 1/2 pounds. He enters the ring tonight for the 10th time as a professional, holding a record of 4 victories, 2 defeats, 3 bouts even, and 1 win coming by way of knockout. Hailing from and representing Nassau, Bahamas, here is Lester Brown Jr. And across the ring stands his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner. Wearing blue trunks trimmed in white, he weighed in 136 1/2 pounds. After a storied, accolade amateur career tonight, he steps into the ring for the first time as a professional. Hailing from Norfolk, Virginia, here is Keyshawn Davis!
Al, things settling in for the pro debut of Keyshawn Davis. He showed up 2 days ago in the pre-fight conversation with some of the press, including ourselves, and he was wearing a shirt that said, "I am who they waiting for." There is confidence that is brewing for the youngster as he begins his professional career.
I like that, and he's been brimming with confidence all week long, and even you can see him as he comes out. Even his body posture, his stance, someone who's absolutely teeming with confidence.
Reason to feel that way as an amateur, but it's that next step, that professional debut. When we talked about butterflies, there is those nervous, jittery energy. Sometimes it's a hindrance, oftentimes it's fuel to get going. What do you expect to see from Davis early? Try to impose himself on Lester Brown.
You know, I've watched a lot of Davis's amateur fights, and honestly, he has much more of a pro style anyway. You know, he sparred with high-level professionals like Terrence Crawford, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, and you know, he had said all those guys had told him, man, you're ready to go pro. You've got more of a pro style. And I think we actually see that already. Very, very measured at this point. I love seeing high-level amateurs when they turn pro because their eyes, they're so open. They're seeing everything. They're analyzing.
Yeah, with as many fights as he's been a part of as an amateur, this is still new territory, and the excitement of being able to say, I'm now a professional, this is my vocation, the excitement. Now, for Lester Brown, he knows he's up against a very talented youngster, a guy with quick hands and a good boxing IQ, but, you know, Lester has proven himself in the past that he can exchange punches pretty well.
Yeah, he's going to need to. He's going to need to be rough. He's going to need to throw punches in the middle of Keyshawn and try and catch him in the middle of combinations or over or around his jab. I think for him to be very dangerous to just shell up and let Keyshawn get comfortable.
Yeah, for Lester Brown from Nassau, Bahamas, this is more of a home fight, even though he's from outside the U.S., than it would be for the Norfolk, Virginia resident in Davis. And Nassau, very close, about 184 miles from here, where Norfolk, Virginia is more than 900. But really the idea is Davis and how he can zero in and use those quick hands, the smarts that he possesses.
I'm already seeing some very classy things from Keyshawn already. So level changes, good shoulder upper body rhythm, you know, using that jab. Also, he's peeling. He's peeling with one hand to throw the other. very, very impressive professional work so far from Davis.
Yeah, one of the things he said the other day in the chance to speak with him, he says, I feel like for my first pro fight, I'm going to get the chance to fight at my pace, not an amateur pace, but actually bring what I'm certainly capable of doing to the fight.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I've always seen him as having much more of a professional style that's going to translate well once he hits the pro ranks, and I think we're seeing that already.
A very aggressive start, losing the left hand to try to pierce between the defense of Brown, finding their mark, and then trying to level with the right hand.
Really taking his time here is Davis, picking his spots, very methodically breaking down his opponent.
And first round ends as Keyshawn Davis establishes himself in the opening round. His debut as a pro, impressive start.
Absolutely. I saw a lot of really impressive professional moves in there. Looking forward to how he progresses his offense and really tries to put it on his opponent. Here we see level changes, like I had said, bending those knees, shooting the right hand low, stalking his man, good defense in between with counters. Here, just taking his time, picking his spots, finding the holes, is Keyshawn Davis.
And the troubling aspect in body language from Lester Brown being he tried to wave him off and say, no, you're not hurting me, but that's almost a sign that he is.
Yeah, that's usually bravado saying that, yeah, you probably did hit me with something good.
Lester Brown and his trainer happens to be his father, Lester Sr., as they try to confer and find a way to counteract this debut from Keyshawn Davis. A lot of energy in those feet for this youngster. Again, celebrates his 22nd birthday tomorrow. Still with a wealth of talent and maturity to still seek, but he prides himself on his boxing IQ.
Yeah, and that's obvious here. You know, he's going to be 22 years of age coming up, but he seems to be physically more mature than that. And then even in his boxing style, you can see he's got a world and wealth of knowledge. Utilizing that left-hand jab really well is Keyshawn Davis, and now focusing on the body shots. A little left hand there from Brown actually caught him in the middle, which is exactly what I said he needed to do in order to have any success in this fight.
Yeah. Brown, no stranger to fighting in Miami. His last fight was in 2019 in the Miami area as he fell to Cuban Manuel Correa. He blamed himself in that match for being too dehydrated, didn't prepare enough. Says he comes in far more prepared for this fight against Davis. Thus far, he's been on the receiving end far more than he's been giving.
Yeah, really good body work there from Davis as Brown found himself trapped on along the ropes. Keyshawn doing a great job here, positioning his opponent, stepping around, walking him into corners, using body pressure to keep his man at bay.
There's a little bit more of the changing of the level, as you've mentioned a couple times. Getting low, then being able to stand up. Strike an imposing figure, and very fluid.
Very fluid, very fluid, and for a pro debut especially.
Peppering a couple combinations as Brown continues to back up and be on the receiving end.
Good right hook there.
And a little shimmy into the corner as Davis feeling at the height of confidence as that right hook just found the back of Brown. Back of his head, mind you.
That was that peel move that I was talking about. Davis used that left hand to peel the left glove down of Brown and then came with that right hook right to the temple, putting Brown to the canvas. Ooh, good body shot there.
Yeah. He seems to be feeling that pressure has been effective against Brown and now sensing a little vulnerability moving in. He said to Davis that I want to put on a show, a great performance, knockout or not. I want to show the world something special.
Well, he's setting his feet now, really throwing some hard power shots as Davis, while also maintaining a good range and staying defensively minded. And our referee steps in and stops it.
And that's it, done. Make it quick and painless. And the quick hands of Keyshawn Davis allows him an early birthday present, giving himself for his 22nd birthday a debut performance worthy of a win in Miami.
I thought the stoppage was a hair early, but the writing was on the wall. It was just a matter of time. He was very outgunned. You see Keyshawn here digging to the body on both sides. Not a whole lot or anything coming back from Brown, although he tried to attempt something right there before being stopped. Not a lot of argument, which is usually a good indicator that the stoppage was probably at the right time.
Yeah, you couldn't help but feel that Brown just knew that he was the hunted. I mean, it was Davis who just stalked him from the outset, the quick hands finding their way through the defense, and Lester really had no answer.
Too fast, too smooth, too strong. Different levels. There's levels in there.
Well, very poised for a man making his professional debut in boxing and looking good in the effort as he throws in Keyshawn Davis with the first win of his pro career. He says he wants to fight 8 to 10 times this year. With that much time in the ring, he's got energy to burn.
Absolutely, and he took 0 damage, so why not?
And smiling and beaming is the native of Norfolk, Virginia, which has good pedigree. Pernell Whitaker hails from Norfolk, Virginia. Well, how about Keyshawn
Ladies
Davis?
and gentlemen, the official time, 2 minutes, 50 seconds, round number 2. Referee Tellis Sesamidios puts a halt to the bout for your winner by TKO in his professional debut, Keyshawn Davis!
Well fitting, he gets an honorary jersey for the Miami Dolphins NFL franchise here in Miami Gardens, and it has a 1 on it. Chris, he's perfect as a pro.
Perfect, 1-0, number 1, however you want to put it. That's a great jersey for this occasion.
Perhaps a harbinger of things to come. He wants to be number 1 in his division down the road. He set his sights on a victory tonight, and boy, did he go out and grab it.
Stay tuned for an interview with the newly professional 1-0 Keyshawn Davis.
Take off down to my spot. Have a good rest of the night. All right, brother? Great seeing you. Good meeting you. We'll see you down the road again.
Eddie first. Okay. I'm joined here by promoter Eddie Hearn. We just saw Keyshawn Davis make his professional debut. He looked tremendous from top to bottom. What are your thoughts?
Well, as the sun comes down in Miami, a new star rises out of the USA. I think when you watch someone who's so composed with the ring generalship like that, and you think that's his pro debut, I mean, this kid is made for the sport of boxing. I know it's early doors. You know, the opponent was game, he was tough, he was trying to fire back and catch and counter, but it was the shot selection. I was right up close, right literally 2 or 3 foot from the ring, and just watching his eyes on his opponent, gap down there, straight right hand to to the lower stomach, up to the left hook. It was it was like watching a seasoned pro demolish and slowly break down his opponent. So impressive. Like I say, much bigger tests coming, of course, but for a pro debut, it was the little things. I'm sure you saw more than me in that respect, but impressive.
Absolutely, and you nailed it. I mean, the eyes. I always talk about high-level amateurs when they make their pro debut. The eyes, they're able to see the openings, see the combinations, avoid the damage, use the range, see the openings, using peels and counters. Tremendous stuff. Really professional stuff for a pro debut. I'm super excited to see where this kid can go.
And so calm as well. You know, he came up,
poised,
messing around, dancing around.
Smiling.
You know, yeah, he's got that great smile, great presence, great composure. I felt like his pulse was probably like 28, you know, on the way to the ring. And, you know, I'm really excited about his future. I was talking to him earlier about the Olympics and his decision not to go. Could end up being a really good decision, depending what happens this year. But, you know, I'm so excited about his future. And he's just got that little twinkle in his eye, Chris, you know, when you see a special young fighter. And I think if you're going to back someone to go on and produce the goods and become a champion, then Keyshawn's kind of the guy that you'd put a house on, you know?
Yeah, definitely Keyshawn Davis, someone to keep an eye out for. But we had a lot of other fighters who had a great opportunities tonight. You know, Keyshawn being our highlighted member. He's going to come in and talk to us.
Come on, champ.
My man. Congratulations, brother.
Thank you, man.
Incredible
Appreciate
pro debut. The now 1-0, 1 KO, Keyshawn Davis. You see the 1 on the jersey there. Is that because you're 1-0, or is that because you're going to be number 1?
Well, honestly, I don't know. It was a gift from Matchroom.
Okay.
They gave it to me back in the locker room, so that's a question for them.
Okay. Tremendous performance. We were all very impressed at ringside. Your ring generalship, your eyes, your eyesight, your ability to see openings, the professional movements that you're doing there. Absolutely stellar performance. How do you feel you did? What can you talk about with our opponent?
Honestly, I ain't really feel like I did, I won't say enough, but I ain't show all my talent at all. Of course, better opponent's going to bring the best out of me, but I still got a lot more to show. I was kind of upset that he stopped the fight in the second round. I felt like the kid had more to go, but he was hurt, so I respect the stoppage.
Yeah, you could see that you were picking your spots, and you started to pick and build and build. You know, First round, really picking him apart, not getting hit with anything. Second round, you caught him a little bit, and then you picked up the pace. That's exactly what you want to see in a pro debut. Now, what's next? What's the future? How soon are we going to see you back in the ring?
Y'all going to see me as soon as April. I'm supposed to be fighting sometime in April. So y'all gonna see me in April, man. And, I appreciate it. I appreciate you and the shout-outs and everything the DAZN Matchroom was doing this whole entire week. Y'all definitely hyped me up and made this performance, I felt like what it was supposed to be. So I appreciate that.
Let's watch the replay here. Talk us through some of this action. This is right at the stoppage there.
I feel like right at the stoppage, I feel like coming into the second round, I knew that he was ready to go. I just felt his energy. I seen it in his eyes, like he was kind of on survival mode right here.
So talk us through it right here. Got your opponent on the ropes.
This when the stoppage at, right? If this is the stoppage, I knew he was hurt.
I think this is actually right before the stoppage, yeah. I had mentioned you doing that peel and the right hook. That was that first knockdown. I had mentioned that earlier in the first round, and then right on cue in the second round, you're able to put him down.
Yeah.
Highlighting a very professional movement there, so.
Yes, man. Just being around professional guys, professional athletes, knowing stuff like that. I actually got caught with a good shot right there. Me and my coach was talking about that. I was actually saying, I'm not excited I got hit like that, but I'm glad I got to feel what 8 ounces really feel like.
Yeah, and that's part of the process and something that it happens from time to time. You handled it perfectly. You kept going to work. So, Keyshawn, great job. Really looking forward to what's next for you. All the best. If you want to say anything to your fans, now's the time to do it.
Shout out my family, man. DB3. DB3, we are a family. And they came here, they supported, they showed out. Y'all see the crowd, y'all heard the crowd, and I appreciate it. Shout out my mother, Wanda Davis, and my 2 brothers that's on DB3, Kelvin and Keon Davis, man.
You heard it here from the man himself. Well, Keyshawn, enjoy the victory.
Yes, sir.
Everyone at home, make sure you stay tuned for 7 p.m. Switch over to DAZN. Watch all the great action tonight. Stay tuned, and see you next time.
ドアが閉まります。